The number of Indian students applying to study at Australian universities has doubled over the past year. Attacks on Indian students 5 years ago, the closing of bogus colleges as well as tighter visa rules led to a slump in arrivals. And those now coming to Australia say they want a quality education, not a fast track to a permanent residency. India correspondent Stephanie March reports from New Delhi.
It's a big day for Ishvinder Maan. He's just finished high school and has come to this University Information Day in New Delhi to learn more about pursuing his dream to go to university in Australia and study engineering.
The most one is important for me is the quality of education, because education makes a man perfect, and it is the most important reason for me.
A diploma of biosciences, and there'll be a one-year diploma.
He's one of hundreds of students who've come to meet with Australian university representatives to discuss course options.
Okay, one last question, sorry for just going so much. There is another program, MTeach, Masters in Teaching.
Chahat Gupta is also looking to study in Australia. She wants to do a master's degree in teaching. Her brother's been living in Sydney for 5 years, and she says he has only good things to say about his experience.
He feels more safe and secure than in India, I would say. And concerning about the course, I would rather say the Australian courses are internationally recognised.
A few years ago, when Australia tightened visa restrictions on students wanting to study there, and there was concern over students' safety, an information day like this one wouldn't have attracted a big crowd, but as you can see today, it's packed. The number of Indian students applying to study at Australian universities has doubled in the year to September. 5 years ago, those numbers were substantially lower. Attacks on Indian students in Melbourne left many fearing for their safety. Thousands of foreign students were left stranded when the colleges they were enrolled in collapsed under financial pressure. The Australian government cracked down on students doing bogus courses as a shortcut to get permanent residency.
Students are no longer just going to Australia for seeking permanent residency. They're actually going there to get a quality education.
Master's student Sahil Sani left India for Australia 2 years ago.
The worst thing that kills everybody is the traffic.
He's been studying in Melbourne and has come home to Delhi to visit his family for the holidays.
The one thing that interested me in going for University of Melbourne was the reputation it had, the international recognition it had.
He'd always planned to return to India and to his family after his studies, but now that plan has changed. 5 years ago, it was reasonably easy for international students to get permanent residency in Australia once they finished their studies. Now they're allowed to stay and work for only 2 years after they finish their course. After that, they have to find a company to sponsor them to stay, or they have to leave the country.
Employer sponsorship is very problematic. There's a high cost involved. You have to deal with a migration lawyer often, and also the paperwork for employers is very complicated. And finally, there is a situation in which the minimum wages and the minimum salaries for many occupations, be it aged care worker or be it as a marketing officer, are much higher than what the award rate is in Australia for the same occupation. So there's actually a barrier for many Australian employers.
That poses a problem for students like Sahil Sani.
I think I'll have a little problem in terms of getting a PR, because I think my course doesn't offer a PR, and I'll have to figure out a way, and maybe I'll have to find a sponsor for myself. So it's a big road ahead, and I'll see how it goes.
While students like Sahil may feel having to leave Australia is a missed opportunity, letting people like him go may also be a missed opportunity for Australia.